Hey, what's going on, guys? I know it's been a while with the videos. But before we get into the newsy top stuff and things that matter to us today in economics, I found a really cool video done by Vsauce about the money supply. So I'm going to leave a link down in the description down below and in Blackboard in case you guys want to check it out. And it has a little something to do with the money that you touch. M0, M1, M2, the mysterious M3, and is the money you touch linked to a murderer? Anyways, getting on the subject of Haiti. Now, to me, Haiti was actually an operation that we did helping out when the earthquakes and the previous hurricanes hit. Now, this is also one of the most poverty-stricken parts of the world, and in the same respects to how we also help out Africa in the army, it is very possible that their population is decreasing as fast as it's increasing, so it's almost going at a very slow intake, very, very slow. The disease, the crime, and terrorism, the hurricanes, the earthquake, everything that happens, and just compounded situations all on top of each other, the death rate is just so high for children, for adults, and the elderly. It doesn't matter. The death rate is just so high that can they sustain a population in order to keep on going? And of course, yes, it is true. There is so much aid and so many things happening over there. But once the hurricane hit, I came back from Iraq and they asked for volunteers. One of the interesting facts that you may not have heard or may not have known was that the earthquake actually changed the underground topography under the ocean. So when we sent our naval ships, not only were our U.S. naval ships too big to fit in Port-au-Prince, the other smaller ships that tried to go through, the underground topography changed so that they couldn't pull into port. So we had millions and millions of dollars of aid, toilet paper, bottled water, things to sustain daily life, not anything to build shelters or things like that. Just the daily necessities couldn't get to the port. And because they couldn't get to the port, they couldn't get to the people. And because the people went without, many more people died. Now, a lot of the international community wanted to blame the U.S., but neither here nor there. Let's talk about the economic sector. Now, when we're talking about that same situation and how many people were affected, and we start talking about these microloans, and I know to us it really doesn't seem like much, but comparatively, if you compare their income and spending to our income and spending, man, it is so minuscule. That $25 turns into that $25,000. Like it is crazy to think about how little amount of money they go through, and if you do a comparative advantage to how the income would be toward our paycheck, there is such a big gap and such a big difference. $1 a day or $2 a day living off of over there is astronomical. If you gave them even $10 a week, just helping them out. Of course, those microloans are for $25. $10 a week would be half of their monthly income because they have to pay everything back, and there's so many influxes on how things go. Now, aside from watching the movie Yes Man, and I do love that movie, don't you say a word about Jim Carrey, because I really love that movie. And, you know, hey, Zoe Deschanel, one of my favorites. But anyways, the microloans in that movie were kind of similar in how if you give people microloans, something that's easily bite-sized, easy to chew, and easy to pay back, you do have a high turnaround rate. You will have people that just take the money and run, or you have people that will take that money and not be able to start that successful business. Sometimes our ideas are a little bit ahead of their time. Maybe we needed to put more planning into it in order to get those things into fruition. But I can tell you right now that the biggest thing is that when they said that 18% were defaulting on their loans, that also means that 72% were making good. And that 72%, it may be steadily increasing on the people that cannot repay those loans. But as long as you're doing almost that 75%, that 3/4, you are saving so much of the population. As we were talking about, when you have that multiplier effect, you have the people bringing in the money, and you have also the people, same people pushing it back out and redistributing it out to everyone else. We have all those interactions happening, that multiplier effect. Even though that interest rate was super, super high, you also have to remember that even though the interest rate was really high, the money supply slammed. There was no people, and all those people defaulted on the loans. And without those loans and repayment of the loans, it kind of was like that reverse effect of the multiplier, except in the negative way. It just kept flowing and flowing down. And just that, all of those situations, the hurricanes, the earthquakes, the death rate, the interest rate, the money supply, everything all combined back together, a 55% interest doesn't sound so bad. Because you are only taking $25, maybe a $40 loan. If we were talking about $40,000 with a 55% interest rate per year, yeah, that would be a much, much more difficult problem, and it would take a lot of time to solve. It would also take a lot more money flowing back and forth in the economy in order to solve that problem. But because it is such a small amount, those microloans are really, really helping. Also, at that time, you might remember they kind of just were talking about doing exchanges with eggs and goats and milk. And that's what we were talking about, how we trade with each other, that we had to go back to the barter system. Because there is no transportation, you might not actually have the cash and the money. You might just be, pockets. Let's see. There you go, pockets. Because you're BROKE, man. If you're broke and you don't have any money to pull out from a bank, you can't just go down the street. You actually had to walk up a couple mountains, take your goat, maybe stop underneath a tree and chill for a minute, and then keep on going. But there was no clean water, there's no anything, so you're just going to stay put. And whatever cash that you have stays in your pocket. Money doesn't flow. So if the money doesn't flow, or if you don't get any money, then you can't exchange any. So then you might have to resort to something else. And as we were talking about, that we are going to create a new currency, and that might have to resort back to the barter system, or it switched over to eggs, or it switched over to milk, or whatever was going to be the concrete, tangible evidence of money. And so I'd love to hear what you guys think. Maybe I educated you a little bit on Haiti. And please, hey, watch the videos, and we will see you in class. I love your faces, and I'll see you next time.